I just don't see oil and gas production as a big part of Tulsa's economy moving forward.
So many industries have taken a huge hit because of COVID-19. Education, small businesses, entertainment, manufacturing, and most detrimentally, oil and gas. So with many programs across the country seeing a massive decline in enrollment in the past couple of years, what does this mean for petroleum engineering students? And looking at the bigger picture, a bigger question, what does this mean for the oil and gas industry as a whole? Every day, petroleum engineering students walk through campuses like the University of Tulsa, hoping that in just a few years, they could have the most lucrative occupation in America outside of the medical field, in the biggest industry in the world.
March 1st, we were the world's leading producer of oil, 13 million barrels a day.
But those hopes and dreams for many were squashed when the COVID-19 pandemic hit.
I don't think we're ever going to return to where we were March 1st.
Tom Sang is the director of the School of Energy, Economics, Policy, and Commerce at TU, a university with a petroleum engineering program that's shrinking fast.
538 students in 2014-15, and now I think we have about 120 students.
A nearly 78% decrease in enrollment in just 5 years, according to Dr. Mohan Kelkar, department chairperson for the School of Petroleum Engineering at the University of Tulsa. And it's not unique to TU. Petroleum engineering programs across the country have had ups and downs over the years, according to this study from Texas Tech. But right now, we're heading down.
Approximately half what their bachelor's degree output was going back 3 or 4 years.
Dr. Lloyd Heinze, a TU grad, conducted that study and found that enrollment trends follow oil prices by 2 years.
The 2 years is back to the fact that if I'm a junior or senior in my engineering program, it's too late for me to change my mind and switch to majors. But if I'm a freshman or sophomore, I'm going to switch my major when I see what's going on.
So what is going on? If I'm a petroleum engineering student right now, I have 3 pretty big questions. 1, what happened to the industry? 2, why would I want to stay in this industry? 3, how can this industry survive? So what happened? Well, we know oil and gas prices fluctuate over time, but that's only part of the problem.
There's going to be a percentage of people working from home right now who will continue to work from home. There's going to be a reduced amount of commuter miles. So that's going to impact gasoline, diesel.
A supply and demand issue. There's also a surge in efficiency.
To produce the same barrel of oil, we don't need as many engineers. Essentially, one engineer could operate maybe 20 wells 20 years ago. Now one engineer can operate 700, 800 wells because everything is electronic.
So the need to graduate more students is going down. But what about the students already in programs?
Well, I think students who have an interest in energy are still going to go into these programs, and they're going to get their degrees, and they're going to hope for the best from a job perspective. But also, there are a lot of transferable skills that these students pick up.
Which brings us to, why would I want to stay in this industry?
There is no way we can eliminate fossil fuel usage. We have to use fossil fuel. The question is, how do we contribute to climate change as a fossil fuel industry by developing better technologies to minimize the CO2 emission?
And it takes petroleum engineers working with environmentalists to figure that out. Fossil fuels are used for transportation, electricity, making steel, plastics, cement, and all those things are not going away, even with a push for electric cars, wind power, and solar power. Dr. Kelkar says fossil fuels are not going away, even with initiatives like the Green New Deal, especially the need for fossil fuels outside of the U.S.
You simply cannot deny developing countries the usage of fossil fuels because now we are worried about climate change.
Which answers the question, how will the industry survive? Kelkar says, exports. The demand for oil in other countries is increasing. He says the average American consumes 21 barrels of oil every year, while the average Indian consumes about 1.5 barrels of oil a year.
And if they want to improve their standard of living, they need more energy.
But unfortunately for petroleum engineering students, all of this isn't going to happen overnight, as is reflected on the job boards and the number of oil and gas companies throwing in the towel.
For students right now, the prospects of a full-time job come June, so to speak, right after graduation. Right now, they're fairly dim.
I am absolutely certain that within few years, we will see an improvement in the job market. I just hope that we can conquer this COVID-19 because that has really adversely impacted us.
So when the dust settles, these guys seem optimistic about the petroleum engineering industry. it just may look a little different for these students than what we're used to.
We want to accept what is going on around us, and we want to embrace it.
We understand the shifting dynamics, and we are going to evolve as the energy picture in the United States evolves.
And Singh says that you can see that shift here in Tulsa with companies like WPX moving away. He says it's not the end of the oil and gas industry by any means, and what was previously known as the oil capital of the world just shows that there's a shift in the industry. We still have strong energy companies like ONEOK and Williams.